of hope for Weibo. We do get to see, obviously, first selection goes to Weibo after the Game 1 loss. 4 characters does mean that they chose pick order and they chose first pick, while AL presumably chose blue side.
Ooh, so this is the same 6 bans, but taking the Vi early. Something that's going to allow Jiejie to impact the map early after level 6. As long as he doesn't get set behind pre-level 3 or so, he should be fine, which that doesn't happen very often. Ryze, Qiyana, that's terrifying. There should be a Taliyah answer. Like, there's nothing else. Maybe Ahri, but I think it's Taliyah for Xiaohu. Very brawly again. I think the Weibo have more synergy, but the Qiyana was really Tarzan's thing in the LPL last year, and the Ryze with Actualizer build has risen in priority quite a lot.
Yeah, Xiaohu been a big proponent of the Cassiopeia into the Rise so far this season. I wonder if we'll see that from him here. Don't believe the Vex, that's not real, but he'll take the Syndra instead. Another pick that he has been a big fan of so far, and one that maybe doesn't necessarily the biggest association with the Vi. You could have seen something like the Taliyah come out here as well, but deciding they want that little bit of scaling. Zika going to lock in the Renekton. Is a solid, reliable blind pick in the top lane, and they will save Elk and Erha for the second phase.
Yeah, the Renekton's quite nice. I like the Renekton here. You can't really go Jax because of Syndra. It's quite a nice matchup. So, I mean, nah, that doesn't feel great these days. The reason I'm a little iffy on the Syndra, Rek'Sai, okay, sure. You can go underground and ult and dodge the scout of the week. The reason I'm a bit iffy on the Syndra is it is really good into Qiyana, and it's a bit whatever into Ryze. Like, Ryze is just going to clear anyway, no matter what. But there is, like, lack of synergy between Vi and Syndra. Right? The Scout of the Week pushes away from punch, away from ult. It doesn't help you. If you ult someone and then Scout of the Week them, now they're further away, right? So the follow-up necessarily isn't the best. That's why Taliyah is so good, because it brings the person back towards you. It allows you to roam to where the Vi wants to be. But I think it's a good matchup against the 2 first picks that AL have. Support bans the look here for both teams, but again, AL should have counter pick.
Indeed, they should. And that does mean that, yeah, they're going to have to blind pick one of their bot laners at the very least. We'll find out where that priority is going to fall, as that is the case for both of these teams here. One more ban coming out. I mean, I wouldn't blame them if they just take the Kaisa right off the bat here, as it's definitely going to be a dive buddy alongside the Vi, and yeah, they will just ban it away.
Yeah,
sorry,
nice.
Elk.
I mean, what's left up? Aphelios is open. That's really hard with Qiyana Ryze. You just kind of die. You could go Jhin for some range. There's not a ton of tanky members on AL, so you can chew through. And with Giant Slayer back on LDR, Jhin is not the pick tank and Jhin can't do anything champion that he was last year. And Siva, I mean, what? Lucian Braum is up. That's really strong. I could see AL going that. MF. I mean, Leona ban makes sense. Okay, AL could take the Aphelios too. That does look pretty decent. But for Weibo, if this happens, I think Braum is still really good for both teams.
Agree. I think the Braum is not quite seeing the pick rate you might expect from how well he fits in currently in a lot of these compositions. I wouldn't mind seeing that one bit, especially if Hope locks in this Misfortune. I think that's an easy choice for Erha if he's comfortable with it. And he's already played it, so you would certainly hope that that's a pick that they will go with. They played Ezreal Braum as a duo. I mean, that would be very safe up against the likes of this Qiyana, and frankly, it would give them a pretty substantial range advantage from what's already been selected. Wouldn't hate to see Ezreal Braum here. Maybe leaves you a little bit lacking in damage, but between the Syndra and the bot laner would really be able to just poke folks away. Maybe it is the Lucian Braum, though. You called it here, Jbetto.
Yeah, this is a bit of a fault of AL here. The Leona's banned, so like that's something you would play Braum into, but then they ban Rakan, which is a great counter into the Braum. Renata will help in the lane, sure, but this is a self-counter pick, right? If you pick that, you ult, the shield will destroy the ult. There isn't really anything you can go here that isn't necessarily a self-counter pick. Like, you're still playing melee support into Braum, which is really good for Braum. but unless you want to go Lulu MF, Karma MF, ill. That sounds awful. So you have to go something like Rel to play for the team fight. And again, AL going for that team fight idea. We have a lot of team fighting ults. We're pretty close range. Weibo kind of going with it too, right? We're all pretty close range outside of Syndra. The last Syndra I saw, I haven't kept up with all the picks, was Rookie, and he popped off on the Syndra. It was awesome. Wondering if Xiaohu can find similar success, but I don't know. From that last game's performance, I'm not really super excited to see what Xiaohu can do on the Syndra, but I'm willing to be proven wrong.
Yeah. It is. He's played it a couple of times. He played it once in one of the wins up against IG. I think it was the Elk Kaiso game, so nobody really talks about it. It's obviously they're a bigger fish to fry if you're talking about Weibo carries in that particular win. He also played it last night up against Top Esports. Did not win that game. Did not work out for them particularly well. But it's a champion that he's very familiar with. It's one that he's played a lot over the course of his career. It's somewhere in his top 5 most played all time. So you got to give the respect over to it, but yeah, eye's going to be on Xiaohu to recover from what was a pretty poor game number 1 when his team needs him to be able to show up here. Right? It can't be all Elk all the time. You need to have some credible additional threats on the roster.
Well, different to that game 1, Lucian Braum post level 2 or 3 should have prior. Lucian level 1's pretty weak. So if they can generate some of that bot prior and use it, use some push and get some early Drakes, that could look good.
Certainly could. Let's find out if they can do it. Back on to Summoner's Rift, game number 2. Same sides. AL looking to make this a quick, easy night for themselves. Weibo looking to take us multiple games into this series, get ourselves a game number 3. What everybody hopes for, especially when you see these Group Ascend series, especially between teams currently even on record.
Some vision control in the mid brush here. Looks like Kael could try to crash down, but that would be very risky. Again, the Lucian is pretty weak, level 1, so you're looking for, typically in Lucian lanes, like Lucian Nami lanes, on the bounce is where you get priority, and the Braum can really do a lot of heavy lifting against the Rel there. But both AD carries doing pretty decently on the push.
Looking for potential brawl to start things off here. Erha taking fairly, just a little bit of harassment. I thought that would go a little bit longer, but I hope going to be able to find at least a little bit of double up harassment. And you really do want to try to push that misfortune advantage while you've got it, because yeah, once this Lucian has access to his full suite of abilities, he's going to be a much bigger problem. AL do take level 2 first.
I think Xiaohu is, congratulations, Flandre. 900 games. Over 10 years, 11 years as a pro player. That's pretty impressive. I think that Xiaohu is set up this game to really perform. You've got, Rise that can't really gap close against you. He just gets scattered like we're seeing here. The Kiana is a similar story. If Rel tries to go on you, you can knock him away, and you can cancel MF ult as well. So Xiaohu is really in the picture-perfect position this game to have a good game and bring his team back. And like you said, and I agree with you, we don't always want this team for the rest of the year to be the Elk show. Like either Elk 1v9s the game or we lose. That's not a convincing look. It's not something that we want from a team like Weibo that with, player names should do pretty well, should be in, as we hope, Group Ascend for the Split 2. And the way that the split works, if you want to go to have a video, Rafa actually on the LPL Shorts has a really nice coverage of it. So I would recommend watching that if you want it in a little bit more detail. But basically, if you get to playoffs and lose and don't make top 8, so you don't do well in this Group Ascend double round robin, which finishes, I think, February 6th is what I was told, then you don't get to playoffs, so you don't make top 8. You're in Group Nirvana. And a team like this being in Group Nirvana, or TES, or IG, or any of these teams that, might end up losing to a team like LNG, who is in Group Nirvana right now. That team is a team that could make a run and get to Group Ascend for Split 2. That's a really terrifying position to be in.
It certainly is, as we do see Tarzan hovering around the bottom side here, not going to be looking to push on towards this Braum Lucian lane yet, but Jiejie arriving in the bot lane all the same will be spotted on this mid ward, so they are aware that there is a jungler lurking in the wings, and he will be backing on away. Hope and Kael still finding some solid trades here. They're the ones with the better health bars.
Nice little reset here. Hope has already reset, but it was just for a pot and a cull. So good thing here for Weibo is that bot lane is not off to a bad start, not down, you know, a ton of gold. Just, I think, one plate it might have been. There is a little bit of a gold advantage off of CS and maybe a plate, but a bit hard to read. I think it was just CS advantage, so nothing too crazy. Pretty even across the board. You know, lead for Zika on the Renekton. That's pretty standard. This champion is very, very strong in the early game. So Weibo on a blank slate here. They've cleared the worries of the early game from last game. Hopefully we don't have any Hope triple kill, 2.5 thousand gold up after plates and cashback. Play it slow and try to take some team fights because it's so hard to get a look at a team and really judge how they, you know, match up against another team in team fighting when the early game went as bad as it did.
Yeah, Tarzan finds Jiejie here, and this is a 1v1 that he likes his odds in. Will at the very least proc his first strike for a little bit of bonus gold. And feeling very comfortable on this top side with Xiaohu taking a recall and a low health bar on Zika. Tarzan going to get right up into Jiejie's face, contesting for the Krugs, and will continue to harass him and just be a thorn in his side in this top side jungle. He's got Shanks at his back.
Level 6 nearly hit for Jiejie, and it's really when you want to see this Vi get active. Kael trying to hold the wave, but won't be able to. Oh, nice pick maybe.
Yeah, double snare comes through from Tarzan. Shanks going to get a little bit of a trade onto Xiaohu as well. This is a TP being channeled by Flandre,
We're
but
going.
It's 6 minutes in. This is the long TP. Flandre just now gets in here. Xiaohu had to flash, though, so I guess you're going to consider that a win. And Flandre's going to try to harass him even further.
It is really goofy. This, I say new, but it was all of 2025, right, too? This upgraded, different new TP that takes 10 years to teleport before before 10 minutes. Very aggressive look from AL. They use Realm Warp to try to chase and the TP from Flandre. Sure, he just gets back to lane, that's fine, but they take Xiaohu's flash away, putting pressure on a potential weak point that AL have identified in the last game and say, okay, we're going to shut this down consistently. We have Vault Breaker available here, or Cease and Desist, sorry. Cease and Desist is available. Could maybe go for a look, but Jiejie decides that it's not worth it. Wave is not in a great spot. Maybe you're waiting for level 6 on Erha and Elk. But despite a lot being used in that mid lane play, it doesn't result in a whole lot. No dragons being started up. Still a minute on the grubs. Nice trade here from Zika.
Zika taken pretty low, or Flandre rather, taken pretty low here by Zika, who is building himself up a pretty sizable CS lead here. We hear a lot about how snowball-y the top lane can be when you get these kind of favorable matchups. I think Renekton, one of those picks that, you know, really does just kind of build up a tiny little lead, and before you know it, he's like 30 CS up. We've seen it happen in multiple games already, and this is one of those matchups where if he gets an inch, he'll take a mile. He's just able to brawl with the Rek'Sai without too much issue here. Matchup that's sustained with Call the Meek, and Flandre's starting to really feel that pain here as he takes poor trade after poor trade up against Zika. There's a bullet time in the bottom lane, though. Going to take Elk down to about 300.
I think both of them have used their adaptive force pot. You can see the red glow, so maybe looking for an all-in. Try to continue this going, but the supports will check each other. And maybe if Erha hits level 6, he can go for a Glacial Fissure. Grub's being started up.
Yeah, fight potentially breaking out here. Jiejie up on the top side.
I think Zek is too scary.
Yeah, he's fine. He's going to try to start on up these grubs, and Tarzan waiting for a little bit of backup, maybe going to pull the trigger onto Zika. Will find him up against the wall with his supreme display of talent. In comes Flandre with the Void Rush to be able to find that kill. Now Xiaohu next up on the menu. Does get a nice scatter of the week to create himself a little bit of space. Jiejie flashes in, finds an isolated Shanks, and makes the scoreboard 1-1.
Mistakes from both of these teams. Zika rotates down with ult, very strong, scares off all of AL, but Shanks slips into the brush, and Weibo don't seem to be aware that he's left lane. But then Shanks rotates back into mid way too aggressively, caught by the cease and desist, and really nice follow-up from Xiaohu, now 700 gold lead. I wish I could tell you who got the grubs, but I don't remember, and there is no HUD, so one team got some of the grubs, and maybe some team got other part of the grubs. I'm not too sure, but first blood over to AL. Weibo with a nice answer back.
That's what I'm talking about here. As 1-1 on the scoreboard, a slight lead to Weibo, and Xiaohu, exactly who we were looking for to show up, is at a solid gold advantage over his counterpart now, thanks to this Syndra counter pick and what he was able to get done in that last fight. Jiejie with a nice flash vault breaker to lock down Shanks after that brawl. And now Dragon might very well be in their eyes. Weibo already sending multiple members down towards this side. Xiaohu going to have to return to mid though, so it'll be a little bit longer before we actually see that objective started off.
Got my eyes on this Rise champion over the first week and watching it as it progresses. I'm not sure like where it's rated. I guess, you know, it's not as good as Azir, it's not as good as Orianna, but after that, it seems really strong with this new actualizer item, the one that makes your mana do more damage, or your abilities do more damage and cost more mana, be more mana effective, which is obviously really, really good on Rise. But it just seems that there are some matchups that Rise can't really play that well. He's very short range and prefers to be in a side lane rather than just in a straight up team fight. Azir and Orianna do better in that. Nice flash.
Oh, but a nice scatter from Xiaohu going to stop Tarzan from closing the gap. And, you know, despite the fact that it doesn't have inherent synergy with the Vi, that's why you like it in the two champions like the Qiyana. Scatter the Weak is doing a lot to stop that Qiyana from making her way on in. And Tarzan's gank just kind of fizzles there. Shanks used flash for that.
He did. Try to get the root off. Has Ghost as well. Something that we've been seeing our mid laners pick up a little bit more. Some Talias and Cassiopeias, I think, as well. Just taking the combat summoner. Realm Warp behind the turret.
Shanks going to be immediately knocked up by the Glacial Fissure, but they're going to take the engage onto Erha, and Erha will be the first and perhaps only person to drop in this fight, as the Scatter of the Weak from Xiaohu is a little short onto Hope. Now they get free time to pound away at this tower, but Flandre getting collapsed on the other side, but he's got multiple little tunnels to go through here to create additional space. There's nobody waiting for him in mid. Flandre's home free.
He does lose the full wave, which does feel bad, but, I mean, if you were going to stay in top lane, you would have died and lost the wave anyway, so should be able to grab some XP at least, which is pretty nice, and AL able to open up that first Drake as well, as some of our quests are being completed, but it's kind of what I was talking about Xiaohu needing to have a really good performance on this Syndra game. Is primed to take over this game. Really nice reaction. Is able to push back Tarzan. You're talking about the matchup. And the pivot from AL is great. Immediately they say, well, this is never happening, so let's just ult bot, and they get a nice kill. 2 kills now to AL. That kill went to Tarzan. Flandre living in the top side. They get the first dragon. This Qiyana champion, someone who really needs to get off to a gold lead, needs items. It's an assassin, right? They're all very gold dependent, as opposed to something like a Vi, where she really just needs, you know, Sundered Sky, maybe Black Cleaver, GA feels okay, but more often than not, you're playing the team fight, you're playing the macro game. Tarzan having the gold lead for his team, and we saw what he did last game and how he drives this team forward. See what he can do this game.
We'll have to find out. So they are going to once again be looking towards Shanks in mid lane. Jiejie channeling the Vault Breaker, stun connects, but he's close enough to the turret that Jiejie doesn't want to tussle and knows that they will not be able to finish off that Rise in time. Catalyst plus the Merc Tread's going to make him a little bit tankier and going to make him not able to be finished off. Mid lane quest already done, though, for Xiaohu. Does give him that boots upgrade and gives him a little bit of an additional advantage over Shanks, at least in the short term, until he himself is able to upgrade the Merc Treads. It's another one of those upgrades that has just been so popular and so powerful with the new mid lane changes. The magic damage shield, when you're landing up against a mage, it feels very good.
I mean, not only is Mercred's really good into Syndra in general, right? Like, you don't get as CC chained by the Scout of the Week, so you can maybe move out of the way of the rest of the damage, you can play the fight. But look at the game that it's in. Culling will come out, but that should all be it. Tarzan's rotating down, so Weibo take a decent trade, generate some plyo in the bot lane, but because Hope has this BT, it doesn't really mean anything, so the ult goes completely to waste there. But look at the comp. Renekton has a stun. Okay, you'd maybe want plated steel caps against him, but Vi has good CC, right? The tenacity's making work there. Obviously, into the Syndra it feels great, and into a Braum. So Merctread's value is super strong in this game. Ra's been going to Merctreads for a while, but there's upgraded boots, Gordo, where both mid laners start with boots first to make sure they have them for the upgrade. It's a free upgrade, right? So super strong.
Yeah, feels real bad when you don't actually have the boots ready by the time you finish your quest. You definitely feel like you're leaving a little bit of value on the table. Kael making his way up towards the top side, going to get found by Jiejie, who was waiting in that long brush, but not enough to actually be able to force Kael off the play or take him down. Scout of the Week not going to find its mark either. But the river belongs to Weibo, and Jiejie will claim the scuttling.
I'm a big believer in getting your Lucian into mid lane as early as you possibly can so that you can generate mid-pry. That's kind of the only thing that Lucian does super well towards the late game. He's a really good mid-game skirmisher, but he can constantly generate mid-pry, use the culling to kill the wave, rotate first to objectives. Hope has to cleanse and flash. Is he still dead?
Ooh, Hope. One shot by Xiaohu, and that will be an advantage cross map, but AL going to try to pull the trigger on the top side to make it good for them. They do manage to take down Zika, and it is going to be a 1-for-1 trade across map when all is said and done.
Well, we want Xiaohu to step up. That's a really good start. He has the only gold lead for his team, and it's 1,000 gold. That's pretty good. But AL on the top side again, playing these team fights super well, calling the targets. They're so synergistic. And again, 100% kill participation on Tarzan. He's moving forward with his team now, 2 items up. We take a look back. We didn't get to see the start of this as we were focusing on the Xiaohu fight, the 1v1 down there, but it really is just AL moving forward. They engage onto Zika and they're just there first. That is what it is, right?
It is.
Weibo have to get out. Erha isn't there. Jiejie goes over the wall. Instant snap onto Zika and he falls down.
Yeah, really good stuff there from AL, making sure that they do not begin to fall behind. And in fact, they're even growing their lead here. They're about 1K ahead while Hope was getting picked off. They're about 3K ahead now, thanks to that first turret and the second turret while they're at it. Now Tarzan going to be able to lock down Erha. He will be able to get away with the flash. That's just another summoner spell blown for very little effort from the AL side.
Dragon is up. Weibo do have control of the river, and their mid lane is pushed again. Lucian, one of those champions that generates the mid prio, but Zika in the top lane, no TP. Flandre will be able to take the Hex Gates back, or not the Hex Gates, it's not Hextall. He'll be able to make it there on his own quicker regardless, as Zika's only now reset. Tarzan does have the supreme display of talent to get into this fight, but Xiaohu, this is a fight you need to be able to win. Weibo have conceded all prio.
Definitely have, and that means they don't change something about that very soon. They're not going to be able to get over and get involved in the dragon at all. Shanks going to be able to lock down Erha over the wall. Nobody actually started the dragon here, so Weibo actually find their pathway on in. Tarzan was clearing out his camps, now going to regroup with the rest of the squad. Jumps over the wall, looks for a supreme display of talent, finds it out of 2, bullet time on top, Erha down, and Jiejie forced to flash away. Flandre coming in on the flank, not even going to have to pull that trigger as Weibo are routed, and it will be AL moving on towards the dragon.
I love how AL play these team fights. They're playing for small wins. They pick the support. Now there's nothing to stop you from us engaging on you a second time. They're so quick to the punch. They're so quick to these fights. They're all on the same page with the target. Tarzan again leading the charge. Realm Warp in.
Now going to look to see if they can just find a lockdown onto Xiaohu. He is able to get himself out. And will be able to hold on to the turret plating here in mid. They don't actually get their crystalline overgrowth pop, but that's just a small denial from AL. AL having gotten that second dragon means they're still stacking up the scaling. They get themselves another kill worth of gold. This is tons of money going over the way of Tarzan in particular this game, who is well set up to perform on this Kiana.
Yeah, they chunk him down, and then they go immediately back on. It's a small win into, okay, Weibo aren't respecting what we've done, and then they immediately charge forward onto Erha. 2 Drakes now, Ocean Soul this game, which feels pretty good on the rec side, good for any long extended fights, but AL have so much burst that they don't even need the long fight, right? They're just interested in one-shotting. There is consistent damage with Rise, but for the most part, it's this team fight. AL, again, maintaining this tar-based style draft with the team fight focus, and they're executing extremely well. Hope now 2,000 gold up. Tarzan remains 100% kill participation. The only one outside of Shanks that has that. Tarzan, invisible here.
Ooh, actually went in the other direction. Was threatening, keeping them on their toes.
Baited by observers.
As always. And AL, yeah, they're still just posturing up in the face of this Lucian Braum, who hasn't really been able to hold a good MF down. Hope up 2,000 gold individually. And how some of these fights have played out. That last bullet time was massive. They are going to be able to get some lockdown onto Kael, but it's right as Shanks arrives to provide backup. So not like Elk and Erha are really going to be able to enjoy the exchange while it occurs. Therefore, it'll just be that exchange of support ultimates and not much else.
This is 5 people in mid lane right now. Herald is being driven in. Weibo won this tower.
Shanks is waiting on behind, though. Jiejie going to be the one who actually gets locked on down, but he's able to dish out just as much as he takes. Kael very, very low. Flandre finally arrives, but it's a little bit late to the party. They got about 4 plates down in mid, but they won't quite finish off the tower. And the Baron has spawned, but surely Weibo aren't going to look to start it this early unless they get a lockdown on Tarzan. One shot with all of Weibo's power, and the kill credit goes to Xiaohu. Jiejie going to get traded onto, though. Hope going to be the one to finish that one off. It's a 4 versus 4 on the map as Zika TP's in.
It's a really nice shutdown. Again, Xiaohu, the only member with kills on his team, the only member with a gold lead. Tarzan caught a really nice scout of the week over the wall, finds him, but Jiejie has to go too far to get the kill and is traded. So yes, it's some gold over to Xiaohu, which does feel great. It has 2 items completed, but it won't result in anything else. No map pressure, no objectives were up. We can't do Baron at this stage of the game. So Weibo maybe found a way in, but immediately the door was closed. If we take a look back here, it is just blind, isn't it? It is blind. Oh, he's just spotted. Xiaohu immediately goes for it. Really nice punish from Weibo. The bullet time blocked by most of the shield. But yeah, because Jiejie has to go forward, unfortunately he has sacrificed. The TP from Zika was used as well. There's nothing Weibo can do.
It was not a very long TP from Zika either, and doesn't end up making a difference in the fight. He may want that one back. But another kill onto Xiaohu.
Ooh,
up
what?
1.2k individually. That's nuts, man. I don't like to see that. I wish the observers had just kept that one between them.
That's a disgusting ward position. Unfortunately, the control ward just doesn't see around that corner. There's like 1 pixel of rock.
If someone tells me something about elevation and how that's the reason for it, I'm going to lose it.
That's blue side, bro.
I have no patience for it.
That's blue side being OP right there. Not first pick. That's blue side map.
Perhaps, AL have prioritized blue side, given both choices this series, right? They had first selection, and they took blue side, and then Weibo chose first pick, and AL said, all right, we'll take blue side again. So
I am surprised that, yeah, again, I really thought that everyone would just want side selection, but the fact that teams like AL are willing to take blue side means that, they've obviously practiced. They know that there is a reason that they want it. Maybe it's because of the comp that they wanted. You know, they wanted it for Jarvan, but Dragon's up. 2 Drakes already over to AL.
Tarzan looking for an angle in. The Dragon taken to about half HP. AL already so ahead in gold, going to look to play for the gold once again here. So that Dragon will be smited on down. That's going to delay their ability to get onto any kind of soul. I really thought that was going to be a trigger pull onto Elk. The snare connects from the Q, but they do not take the display of talent in. So, Weibo successfully complete a heist. They get themselves Dragon.
Yeah, very nice answer here. Oh, wait, hang on. Wait, the HUD's updated. We have grubs. It's just after the quests go down. I didn't know that. Has that been there the whole time? Has that been recently updated? Surely not, right?
No, I looked. I even checked.
Someone's going to have to tell me because I feel like I'm going crazy. I made a claim about it this game or game 1 about not knowing who got the grubs. You mentioned it in game 1.
I looked. It wasn't there. You're not crazy,
yeah.
Jbetto.
It's here now. It's all
Don't
right.
second guess yourself, my friend. You've got this.
WLPL production, if that's the case, if they saw that and was like, okay, it's time on a Tuesday, week 2, that we update the graphics.
My goats. They're able to get on out of this one. And so, Erha going to be, with his 1 grub in tow, clearing out some tunnels from Flandre, making sure he's not going to be able to be lurking too far behind them, as this Baron going to become a big focus for the next few minutes, at least until that next Dragon is up and available. We do have a little bit of calm compared to the pace of the rest of this series for now. Jbetto is either side looking to pull the trigger. AL, of course, up to a comfortable gold lead, but finding those engage angles has proven difficult for them. A lot of 1-for-1s as of late.
Again, the Lucian ult is used for some prio here. Flandre uses the bomb plan to get away. Very nice. Still, no objectives up that are really doable, right? You can't do Baron with an MF at this point. You can't just rip it like they did in game 1 with a Corki and an Azir. It's just not happening. But even though the gold lead isn't increasing, it's still 5,000 gold. This tower should break eventually. AL have full control over the map. Engage.
Yeah, they are going to use the cease and desist on Flandre, and he will be the first one to fall. A minute without a top laner for AL. Nice pick found by Weibo. Costs them 3 ultimates in total, but they do earn themselves the numbers advantage, and they're going to look to push for more. Scout of the Week lands onto Kael. Xiaohu will throw out the unleashed power to chunk him to half. That's another ultimate now down, but will AL go in towards this fight without their tanky Rek'Sai front line? The Baron going to get started up. Weibo going to bet no. Zika going to spot Tarzan on the side. Kael going to charge forward. Erha throws up the shield, backs on away towards the rest of the team. Scout of the Week lands onto Shanks. Zika still looking for an angle to get this fight started, looking to punish them inside this tight choke, but Shanks ghosts towards him and pushes him back away. Baron now down to half HP. Tarzan waiting over the wall. They're going to try to flip it. Tarzan is in there, going to try to back on away as the Magnet Storm comes down from Kael, and the supreme display of talent finds 2. Baron falling lower and lower, smited on down, and goes the way of Tarzan, and AL with the rest of the members now ready to be cleaned up. Flandre has rejoined the battle. Jiejie just trying to buy space for the rest of his squad, but the Rek'Sai will hunt him down alongside Shanks. AL find the ace.
And you blink, Gordo, and the game's just over. It's a 7,000 gold lead. Look at how many towers there are left. This map control going to go fully over to AL. That was Weibo's chance. But the same way that AL can't burn the Baron too fast, neither can Weibo. They get wrapped around by Shanks. Flandre has time to come back, and there's just nothing that they can do. Now, look at these massive gold lead continuing to explode. Not only do Weibo lose the fight, but they lose the Baron as well.
I mean, what a smite here from Tarzan. There's so much popping up on the kill feed. It wasn't immediately clear who even got it, but you see that buff on AL's side. Trying to find a fight angle, and it's kind of split here, but Shanks is in such a good position.
Shanks. Yeah, really nice position from Shanks. He was there the whole time, right? He pushed out Zika from the top side. Flandre doesn't even need to be here before the fight is won. 4v5. And one of the biggest reasons this is there were no ults for Weibo. They used everything for the pick. Only ult was Zika, and he was chunked down, outranged, and now look at Rive.
Yeah, looking for another fight here. Erha will be finished off by the bullet time. And it is another 5 versus 4 for AL, and they're looking to collapse onto Xiaohu. Full sending the entire crew towards the one member of Weibo who's been able to generate a little bit of gold for himself. And they will take down the last inner. Zika with a little bit of rage splitting up on the top side, finally going to TP over to try to rejoin his team. Will it be too little, too late to save the base? Kael absorbing damage like it's nothing. Kael taken down below half. And they're not going to slow down here. They've still got the Baron at their backs. They're going to start to work on towards the final inhibitor turret, or this bot side inhibitor turret. Zika going to get focused on down. Hope going to be able to claim that kill. Inhib going to fall. AL have successfully busted open the base.
They're not even concerned with the Dragon at all. They know that the Ocean Soul has no impact on this game. They're 11,000 gold up. That Baron was the game. There's nothing Weibo can do. This is shut.
Yeah, they're going to try to close it on out here, waiting on a couple more cooldowns. Erha trying his best to front line. It's going to have to be something ridiculous from Elk and Xiaohu. EP in, here's Shanks with the Realm Warp. He's up a little bit too far. He's going to be the one they pull the trigger onto. Goes into the stasis, buys a little bit of time. Triple scatter the weak, found by Xiaohu. But the supreme display of talent to hold him down and buy time for Hope on the opposite side. Still, too much damage is found. Hope is the last one alive. He's going to try to end the game single-handedly, but there's 3 members of Weibo trying to chase him down. Hope going to flashback away. Erha with the unbreakable shield, holding it down. Well, Elk finds the shots. He will drop at the end of the day, but the Nexus is defended by Weibo.
Well, they evened up the gold a lot. I thought that was it. I think that AL probably could have just ended the game. Hope could have probably ended there as well. He had Cleanse and Flash, decided to go for some kills, but it's going to be Objective Bounty Dragon over to Weibo too, most likely. It doesn't look like they want to go towards it. I'm really surprised that that's not an instant take. I guess they're worried about the super minions and maybe TPing in, but looking at this position, I think AL again just, they want to go for kills. They could just stand here clearing waves with Baron and end the game, but Shanks goes in by himself, no Flash, no Ghost, Zhonya's, and Tarzan is just tanking turret, so he gets caught by the scatter. Again, how much stock do you put into this? This is what happened in game 1 as well. They're 10,000 gold in the lead. They decide to send it on a fight and get some more kills, maybe farm some stats, and it doesn't go their way. This is a tiny blip in the radar of this series, and there have been a few blips, but AL back at live, full control. Weibo did not get the Dragon. 1,000 gold to Elk is pretty nice, but again, it's not going to mean anything. It's soul point for AL. Maybe they have to wait till next Baron. That's in a minute and a half.
Yeah, that was collector value for Hope, by the way. That's that's what causes Elk to fall on down there. But yeah, you know what? You got one of those games, Shanks. He did it in game number 1, pushed it up too far in mid. He does it there with the Realm Warp. But exposed Nexus is nearly all done and dusted. AL going to try to regroup for what should be one final push. They do need to take it a little bit easy with these minions, though. There is no more Baron buff available for them, so they're going to have to spin this one the old-fashioned way in a team fight. Can they find an engage angle that looks juicy enough for them as they continue to siege on this top side?
Yeah, looks like it will be the Baron, unless AL can find an angle where Weibo make a mistake. I will say one good thing, there's been no awful Xiaohu TPs this game, and he's played pretty well. Right, 4-1. I don't think that this game is necessarily a Realm Warp. They're just going for the Nexus. Okay.
Oh, no. Well, Tarzan and Shanks are here, and there's no stopping them. They're going to full send the squad to try to stop them, but Shanks is at full HP. They didn't even touch half of the backdoor crew, and therefore game is done for AL 2-0 over Weibo Gaming. They will move up to 3rd in Group Ascent.
Yeah, they're just waiting there for the Realm Warp to come back up. They were just holding Weibo in their base by standing in a line out in front of the gates, and then, okay, ult's back up, let's go. Really clean series from AL. Again, some funny mistakes, but I am not going to put any stock into those little blips. Maybe you could if you really want to be harsh towards AL, who are a team that are now 3rd seed. Again, IG can tie 3rd seed if they beat BLG, but I don't see that happening. I think that it should be BLG winning that series from how BLG have looked. Anything can happen, but AL looking really good. they have had some slip-ups, but it's good to see them in a really dominant fashion in this series.
It is. I think very clean play. Exactly what you would hope to see out of the AL team based on their 2025. Really, really strong play individually from Tarzan, but good team fighting across the board. A definitive factor in their wins, their ability to just eke out these small advantages time and time again over the course of the fight and come on up at the end of the day with the W. Very, very little to criticize about how they played out the day. You know, if Shanks does that in a closer game, then I say that. I mean, both Game 1 and Game 2. Maybe it's something that you're very, very concerned about. But, hey, if you wait until you're 8K plus in the lead before you start making silly plays, I don't think anyone's going to hold it against you too much.
MVP in this game is a bit of a tough one. I mean, you could just say Tarzan again. He had a great game on the Talia. The Kiana, not the Talia. On the Kiana. I think that Kael had some great engages. Hope played well. I think it's an anyone's Pog this game. It's pretty tough. Maybe you just give it to Tarzan because, again, I don't know if he would have had 100% kill participation by the end of this, but the fact that he did in Game 1, if he has it again in Game 2, that's kind of insane. We'll have to check the stats, but yeah, AL now updated. We can see 2-2 in sets. Weibo go down to 1-3. I think it's really exciting how close this group ascend is. Having top teams be this close, would love if someone could take a game off of BLG. Then it could be, until that happens, it is kind of like we're a one-team region. But if that can happen and everyone's contesting everyone, it is a very, very fun look. Again, this split is fairly short. A double round robin, playoffs into first stand. So 2 of these teams going to be going. It's looking... you'd hope on paper that it's BLG, but could be AL, could be Jingdong. That would be a really fun change up. But all these matches are super important, getting into the second round robin later on. But yeah, I don't know. Weibo, they've looked good, but it doesn't feel like they can really find that thing that they need. In times it was Elk popping off, but they haven't really found their footing.
Yeah, I think it's got to be consistency from the mid lane. If you could have some good pop-off games from Jiejie as well. I think he's been a player that's looked good in the wins, bad in the losses, as, it's not too surprising in a game of League of Legends, but, getting that additional threat on the map for them, I think is huge, right? It's just so easy to know that Elk is going to be your major threat and to play around that for some of these top teams. That said, speaking of closeness in the group and what you're hoping to see out of these teams, yeah, BLG hasn't dropped a series yet, but, I mean, BLG's dropped individual games to both of these teams, right? AL is able to take a game off of JDG as well. So we've gotten to see individual games where this AL squad can compete with the top of the table. They are not able to find themselves a series win against them quite yet, but... plenty of season left to be played, a whole playoffs at the end of this group stage, a second round robin of this group stage as well before we get to those playoffs. So lots and lots of games against those top teams left for AL and Weibo both in this winter split, even though it is the shortest of the 3. And want to see if they can turn it around, because I don't think it's set in stone that this team is destined to lose versus JDG and BLG in every best of series that they play for the entire season. It's looked close so far. If they can clean up a couple of things, I think they could get there.
I would love a top 3 really close BLG, AL, JDG. That could be really fun and good for the region. Again, it did not look good last year, right? Internationally, that was the LPL's worst year in a long time. LPL historically has been really good at MSI, with the most recent one being JDG in 2023. So the LPL have not won an international since 2023. They haven't won Worlds since 2021. And even 2024, right? BLG in the finals. There have been threatening teams, but last year, it didn't really feel like there was that one team that could contest, or even 2 teams. It didn't feel dominant. I would really love to get that back. And a good start of that is having a very competitive top 3. If these teams, or even top 4, can practice against each other, contest each other for that top spot, we get a very contentious year. That's great for improvement.
certainly is. But for now, that is going to do it for our segment of the broadcast here at Jbetto. We are going to send it on over towards our next series. Sure to be an exciting mid lane matchup as IG and BLG face on off. We will throw it to another break here first, but stay tuned. Plenty more LPL League of Legends coming your way this